the game. It's a rich thing.
Yeah.
So, hello everyone. Today we have a very special guest with us, that is Pratik Mahopatra, and he has done some amazing stuff in his career till now. And right now he's working with Microsoft as a product manager. So let's hear from him what is his experience till now, and let's see the complete roadmap to become a product manager in some tech companies. So, starting with your introduction, Pratik.
Sure. Kaushal, thank you for having me, and glad to be here and educate people more about product management. I'm currently a program/product manager at Microsoft in the area of Microsoft Teams, in the area of activity notifications. I've been around with Microsoft for about a year roughly. With that's excluding my internship. Including my internship, where I've been around for quite a while. Um, I am very passionate about product management. Before this, I was a worldwide winner of the Microsoft Management Cup and the worldwide winner of the Microsoft AI for Good Idea Challenge. Currently, I'm just focusing on becoming a better product manager, and glad to be here and share my knowledge. Kushal,
Okay,
sorry.
great. Yeah, great,
Yeah.
great. So, like, what is the eligibility to become a product manager first of all?
Yeah, that's a good question, Kushal. I think typically in India, you would require an MBA to become a product manager out of university. And there are a couple of reasons for that, right? So product managers usually have skill sets in the area of business, technology, and design. And product managers are usually known to be the people who are at the epicenter of it, right? Now, for example, in business, you would require skill sets of analytics, you would require skill sets of finance, probably you might require skill sets of accounting, so on and so forth, right? So I think every different product manager, Kushal, differs that way, right? So business skill sets are given by the MBA colleges. Technical skill sets are usually acquired through engineering or probably through other workshops or the work that you do, probably in your undergrad. And design skill sets is something that comes automatically if you go forward in wireframe, work hard, learn about it, read Medium articles, prototype, you can do a little bit of Adobe XD, so on and so forth, right? But Kushal, just to answer that question more briefly, I would say that in India, especially because product management is still developing, if you ask me specifically for Microsoft out of university, you would require an MBA. But of course, with experience, things are different, Kushal. Let's say you go to a startup, you practice product management there, you interview for Microsoft, then you can probably get into Microsoft without an MBA, right? This is specific to Microsoft. Other companies have other requirements, but yeah, that's the short answer, Kushal. Yeah.
Great, great. So, like, how the hiring process differs for a PM as
Yeah.
compared to the SD role?
Sure. So I think, Kushal, the SDA role is very focused on technical coding, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you are expected as an individual to know, let's say, data structures, algorithms, hash map, trees. I have forgotten it, but all of those data structures and questions, right? I mean, one needs to go into for geeks, lead code, so on and so forth, right? And you'll find those probably Microsoft questions. While I think that's a very typical process for any company, right? Let it be for Microsoft, let it be for any technology company that you're interviewing. You have system design, you have questions based on your DSA, right? Data structures and algorithms. In product management or program management, I feel that it's more based on the product skill set. So typically, you have rounds on product design, product estimation, product strategy, product execution, product metrics, and these are the questions. If I take an example, like how would you design a smart shoe, for example, right? That's a pure product design question, right? Or if I take a product strategy question, something of this sort, that how can probably Zoom acquire 100 million more users, for example, right? Or let's say, what are the success metrics for Microsoft Teams, right? Or let's just say, for example, that Facebook's likes button is down by 10%. What would you do in that case, right? So as you can see, those are very different questions, Kushal. It's very typically different than what you would typically have in a SUI interview. So yeah,
Yes.
these are the categories of questions that you can expect, Kushal. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So like for an SD role, the hiring process is
Yeah,
like we have an online test initially, then we have a
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
technical interviews followed by a HR interview. So the
yeah.
scenario for a PM remains the same, like you have some kind of online test
Yeah. So
initially and then.
yeah. So Kushal, yeah, thanks for the question. I think it's not like that because the number of PMs, usually the number of roles are limited. While
Yes.
yes, the number of roles are extremely higher, but it's not an online round. So I would say that getting a call for a PM role is difficult, right? They don't have an online round of aptitude of anything of
Mhm.
that sort, right? So you typically get an informational with the manager. If you get referred, you make the cut. So I think the first step is to have some PM experience if you're applying for a PM role, right?
I see.
Now, out of university, if you do want to try for, let's say, a company like Microsoft, ideally you need to have an MBA. Or if you have some experience from a startup of product management, you might be considered, right? So once you're considered, you're called on site. Probably you'll have an information. Before that, you'll have an informational with your, to be manager or a team within the HR, right? You'll have an informational, and then you will have an interview, right? And the interview will be about 3 to 5 rounds, depending on which level
Oh,
and what company
wow.
you're referring to, and it will be on the basis of product design, product estimation, strategy, and product
Oh,
execution.
great,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so like you are with Mike, you have been working with Microsoft since a long time now. So what a day-to-day life of a PM looks like?
Yeah. So I think I would summarize it into broadly 2 to 3 buckets. The first bucket is product management, where you start thinking about new features, where you start thinking, working with design on a daily basis, start seeing what customers want, what are the gaps that you can bridge in the product, how can you make it better, can you add a button to make it more interactive for the user? Do you go forward and add something to make it more intuitive for the user? So you do core product management. The second part being program management, right? So you probably talk to partners, talk to stakeholders, ask them key dates, ask them what are the risks, timelines, coordinate with engineering to ensure that something is shipped and delivered, right? The third bucket is bridging all this together, but looking at product strategy in general, right? Like, okay, what is the data saying? Where is the product headed to? What are the biggest problems around? What are my metrics saying? What is the click-through rate? What is the monthly active users, so on and so forth. So I think broadly, I would say product management, then program management, and then a bit of strategy, right? Strategy is actually a sub part of product management itself, but I would just call it out explicitly because you have to look at data, you have to look at analytics in terms of, okay, where is the product headed? How are my features doing? What is the potential? What is the market size? So on and so forth. So yeah,
Yes. Like they are more customer oriented things,
yeah,
how the user experiences and everything. So
yeah,
like during your journey till now, have you been given a chance to interact with the customers as well directly, like what
yeah.
things you want? Or yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Kushal. I think for a product manager to be able to go forward and work on a feature, for example, let me move away from Microsoft. For example, let's say you are building a feature for WhatsApp, right? Something like
Yeah.
WhatsApp Pay, right?
Yes.
You definitely need to interact with customers, right? If
Definitely.
you don't go forward and interact with customers, you might as well not build the feature. Let me
True.
take an example for this. Let's say WhatsApp Pay is targeted because WhatsApp has over 2 billion plus users today. When you
Yes.
launch something like WhatsApp Pay, you need to be able to cater to almost all the 2 billion users. Of
Yes.
course, the product manager will have certain user segments in mind, like students, housewives, or office workers, so on and so forth. But it's always good to get their perspective of how they use WhatsApp. For
Exactly.
example, Kushal, I might be using WhatsApp in a very different manner than you might be using WhatsApp, right? Probably 90% of the usage of yours will be WhatsApp web, while mine will be 90% on mobile, right? If I am going forward and making WhatsApp Pay, do I cater to WhatsApp web or do I cater to WhatsApp mobile or do I cater to both, right? If you look at WhatsApp Pay very carefully, it's not catering to WhatsApp desktop or WhatsApp web. And there's a reason for that, right? I mean, because they saw the market size of the market opportunity, or most of the users of WhatsApp are on mobile vis-a-vis on desktop or on web. So I think
Yeah.
interviewing with the customer gives you that feedback about what their challenges are, what their problems are, what their expectations also are, and how do they feel about the problem. What happens, Kushal, when you build it out of your own intuition, it never works out to be a successful feature. You need to be able to talk, empathize with the user, get perspectives, get feedback. So finally, you take the call, Kushal, right? But you need to be able to go forward and talk and interact with the customer to know their point of view. It's like saying that when you make something as simple as tea, for example, Kushal, you talk to your mother, you talk to your dad, probably you talk to your siblings, you see YouTube, and then you get ingredients, you get the method how to make tea, right? Finally, how you make it, Kushal, is up to you. But getting those opinions and perspectives makes the best tea. If you go and
Exactly.
silo, Kushal, and make your own tea, I'm not saying it will not turn out good, but it will not turn out the best, right? Because you have not got those data
Exactly.
points. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, these things sound so interesting that, like, I belong to a technical background, but
Yeah.
these things actually involve how interacting with the customers and strategizing things is pretty interesting,
Yeah.
actually. So during your, while you were in college, how you figured out that you need to go for, yeah, like you want to do product management in your future rather than the usual software development thing? Because I've seen your LinkedIn profile and you were a
Yeah.
BTech student, I guess.
Yes, yes. So I think Kushal, for me, it's always been about problem solving. I from the very beginning of my career, and it goes back a long, long time. At 13 years of age, I started coding. I built my first application. Then I got into college, and I was coding, so on and so forth, right? But I think the reason why I chose product management over coding is because I really wanted to be at the forefront of the product itself, right? I wanted to be able to think about the design. I wanted to be able to think about the business. I wanted to think about strategy. How do you build the next billion feature? How would you build a feature that is used by a billion people? What is the strategy? Where is the product headed next? I'm not saying I did not like coding. It is just that product management gave me more satisfaction because it gave me an overview of all three buckets, that is business, technology, and design, right? I still have to look at
And
code in somewhat of view. I don't code, but I still have to look at somewhat of code and probably tell the engineer that, hey, can we do it this way? Can we do it that way, right? But at the end of the day, it also gives me exposure to design and business, right? And for me,
yeah,
design and business at the end of the day, Kushal, are extremely close to my heart, extremely important. And I feel that I talk to customers well, I empathize with customers better. And I just felt that being at the forefront of it and adopting those skill sets, because during hackathons, I was the one pitching my idea. I was the one asking for funding. I still remember at a very young age when I went into NASCOM 10K, I was the one who went forward and asked that, hey, give me funding. This is the business idea. So I felt myself more connected with business and design than with coding. So that's the
ah,
reason why I saw both. I've seen both, right? I saw product management up close and personal at a young age in my college, and I saw coding. I felt more connected to business and design, so that's the reason I picked up product management. Yeah,
I see. So
yeah,
actually, out of curiosity, I was watching a video over the internet, like you were getting
yeah,
some, honor from some in a
yeah,
Microsoft event, and they
yeah,
like introduced you with this expression, like you were a CEO of a company at the age of 15.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So tell us
yeah,
something about
absolutely.
that.
So yeah, yes, of course, Kushal. So I think I was, I was very, very passionate about my thinking and projects and products that I used to make at that age, right? So when I started, there was something called Limit Infinity software that I started that would produce apps and applications. I created a simple scientific calculator. Now, if you think about it, it would be like, oh man, he just built a calculator. But trust me, at 13, 14, it was a task then. Back then, all these
Yeah,
cool initiatives didn't exist.
definitely,
But I
definitely.
think what really helped me, Kushal, was the fact that I took up ownership and accountability to whatever problems were around me and tried solving them. And that's why you see that I was introduced as a CEO of a company, and the CEO of a company was nothing but just an ordinary developer trying to solve the toughest problems around him. I was just working hard day in, day out during my school time to see problems around me. I remember building something in the area of emergency. I built an SOS helpline. I then went forward to build a scientific calculator. So I just solved the toughest problems around me, and it gave me a lot of happiness. And so I thought, then why don't I just go forward and start a company under which all these applications are developed? It's just an idea that came through, and I was rewarded because the app did really well in the Windows Phone store, and people really
Yes.
appreciated it and liked it. So back then Windows Phone store was very upcoming and new. Now it's
Yes.
obviously retired, but at that point of time, building something for the Windows Phone store would be a very big thing. I was one of the youngest
Yes.
developers to do that. So that's how it went. Yeah.
I mean, after watching that video, I was even so inspired by the thing that you had did. I mean, CEO at the age of 15, that's a
Yeah.
really great deal, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yeah,
like,
it was
during your, yes, yes,
honestly a great moment, when you look back and cherish it, right? But today I feel like, every 13-year-old, 12-year-old is a CEO. So today I don't think it's anything big, but yes, of course, at that point of time, I feel like it was something probably worth mentioning. Yeah.
so like during your preparation, what resources or any resources that you have used?
Sure. So I think cracking the PM interview, Decode and Conquer are like Bibles for PM. I feel like there aren't any other books that are better than cracking the PM interview and Decode and Conquer. I also did read extensively on Medium. I also did try and understand up close and personally the app that I was using every day. I was very curious to know, and I'm still curious to know that why was it built this way? Why was WhatsApp green in color? Why is that WhatsApp pay is placed third in the row? Why is that WhatsApp uses blue ticks and not red ticks? Right. So I've always been curious about everything around me, and I think that has helped, Kushal. And if anyone's watching this video, just be curious around around you what's happening, right? That is going to make you a great product manager. No book can make you a better product manager than being curious about everything, right? If you understand, okay, why is the mobile designed this way? Why is your camera put on top? Why is that WhatsApp has blue tick? Why is that WhatsApp has a toggle button? So on and so forth, right? That will make you a better PM than any other PM, right? So you should just be very curious and want to know about every decision that was taken in the product. Yeah.
Great, great. So, lastly, what advice you want to give to your juniors who aspire to be a PM in the future?
Sure. So I think just be curious. Number one, be very curious about everything around you. Know why it's done. Just follow it. Follow your gut. Follow your instinct. Number two is look at data. Kushal, I can't stress on the importance of this. That data is extremely crucial for making decisions. Don't just make a hasty decision. Be data driven. Be rely less on instincts, but be extremely data driven, because data will tell you, okay, this decision is good or bad, right? Now, for example, we just spoke about WhatsApp Pay. Data there would be talking to customers. Data there would be, okay, what have other applications done? Data there would be how many people are clicking the menu after seeing it. What is the click-through rate, so on and so forth. Be extremely data driven, Kushal. If you aren't data driven, then you're going to fail as a product manager, right? I'm not saying shelf down on your instincts. Of course, have it, but don't use it in a very large manner. The third thing is be extremely driven by business strategies, design, and technology. If you aren't looking at these three buckets carefully, Kushal, you're not going to make a great product manager. It's extremely important to go forward and look at these three buckets, and then you'll automatically be a great product manager. But if you only look at one bucket, let's say business, then you're not going to be a great product manager. If you only look at tech, no. If you only look at design, you know, right? So you have to look at a three-way route to this, and you have to be at the epicenter of it, right? And then you'll be an awesome product manager. More than advice, Kushal, I would just say go out there, get your hands dirty, go into a hackathon, build your own product from scratch, pick up a problem, start solutioning. That's the best way you'll become a product manager, because you'll start seeing data, you'll start seeing problems and you'll start building solutions. So that's the only advice I have, that anything that translates into success is always started with a start.
True.
And you got to start with, let's say, a hackathon with a problem in hand, solve it, you'll automatically understand what product management is. I don't like to give too much gyan or lecture because I feel like it's pointless, right?
No,
I feel that get your hands dirty,
yes.
get a problem to solve. See, let's say today you want to solve the problem around COVID patients, right? They're not getting oxygen, for example.
Mhm.
Start solving it. No one's
Yeah.
stopping you, right? Why can't you solve it, Kushal, right? So let's take up the problem. You'll start understanding what the problem is, where the problem is, which user persona, what are the goals, what are the metrics to look at, what is the solution, what solution should be prioritized. You'll automatically start learning it. So I
Yeah.
feel that just take a problem, try solving it, and you learn product management on your own. Do it multiple times, and you'll be an expert in it.
Great, great. I mean, what a conversation. I just loved it. The things I came to know during this conversation were amazing. And I hope the people who are watching this, learn something out of it. So do make sure to subscribe the channel, like the video. If you have any doubts left, do ask Pratik on his LinkedIn, and I have shared his LinkedIn ID in the description box. Thank you, Pratik, for your time, and all the best for your endeavors ahead. Keep the curiosity on and keep the momentum going. You are doing a great job.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kushal. Appreciate it. Take care, folks. Goodbye.